My name is Lillian M. Lee, and the man I loved for 3 years told me I was too kind to be exciting. He said he needed a bad girl, so I let him have one. I should have recognized the warning signs earlier. They began with small changes. The way Jason sighed whenever I asked about his day, as though my concern were an obligation he had grown tired of fulfilling. He scrolled through his phone while I spoke, his thumbs moving rapidly through conversations that seemed far more interesting than anything I could offer. Then came the nights out. "Just drinks with coworkers," he would say, kissing my cheek before leaving in clothes chosen far too carefully for an ordinary evening. I nodded and told him to have fun, but when Jason stumbled home at 3 in the morning smelling of whiskey and unfamiliar perfume, uneasiness settled deeper inside me. "You're being paranoid," he snapped whenever I asked who had been there. "Am I not allowed to have friends?" His phone became a locked vault, always face down, always within reach. If it vibrated while we were together, he grabbed it immediately and turned his back while replying. Then there was Marissa. Marissa from his office. Marissa with the motorcycle, leather jackets, and stories about fights she treated like achievements. "Marissa got into another bar fight last weekend," Jason told me once, his eyes bright with admiration. Apparently, the other woman deserved it. I waited for him to laugh. He did not. Soon, every ordinary thing I did became an invitation for comparison. "Marissa wouldn't spend Friday night watching movies." "Marissa says exactly what she thinks." "Marissa knows how to live without apologizing." Each comment landed quietly, but the damage accumulated. I tried to become more spontaneous. I planned unexpected dinners, bought concert tickets, and suggested weekend trips. Jason dismissed every effort. The night our relationship ended, he came home late with a dark mark visible above his collar. He did not even try to hide it. "We need to talk," I said. Jason rolled his eyes and reached for his phone. "About what?" "About the mark on your neck, about the late nights, about whatever is happening between us." For 1 second, guilt crossed his face. Then his expression hardened. "Fine. You want the truth?" "Yes. I need more than this." He gestured around our apartment as if the home we created had become evidence against me. "More than what?" "More than you." The words struck harder than shouting would have. "You're safe, Lillian. Predictable. Always asking whether I ate, whether I got home safely, whether I need anything." I thought that was caring. "It feels suffocating." He crossed his arms. "Marissa excites me. She doesn't spend her life trying to make everyone comfortable." "So there is something happening between you." Jason looked away. "We kissed." The bruise above his collar told me it had gone further, but I no longer needed details. "I deserve someone who makes me feel alive," he continued. "Someone dangerous. Someone who isn't afraid of everything." I nodded slowly. "Then I guess you have made your choice." Jason appeared surprised by my calmness. "You're not going to fight for me?" "You just told me you want someone else." "I'm being honest." "No. You waited until you were already cheating to become honest." I walked into the bedroom and pulled a suitcase from the closet. Jason followed me. "What are you doing?" "Leaving." He laughed nervously. "Come on, Lillian. Don't turn this into some dramatic breakup." I folded my clothes and placed them inside the suitcase. Hidden beneath a stack of sweaters was the engagement ring I had saved months to purchase. Jason never knew it existed. I slipped the box into my coat pocket. Behind me, his voice softened. "You don't have to leave tonight." "Yes, I do." I packed my laptop, documents, and a few books. Then I placed my apartment key on the counter. Jason stood near the door, watching me as if he had expected tears, bargaining, or one final performance proving how desperately I needed him. I gave him none. "So that's it?" he asked. "You said I'm too nice and you need a bad girl." I lifted the suitcase. "I hope Marissa gives you exactly what you asked for." I walked out before he could respond. The first week was unbearable. I woke at 3 each morning, reaching toward an empty space. The apartment I rented afterward felt cavernous and silent. I deleted our photographs, restored them, then deleted them again. But slowly, the The silence changed. I joined a gym, worked until my focus returned, earned the promotion I had delayed while supporting Jason's plans. Mutual friends brought occasional updates. Jason and Marissa were officially together. They posted photographs beside her motorcycle, at crowded bars, and beneath captions about living without limits. Each update hurt less than the previous one. Then, 4 months later, the stories changed. Marissa had screamed at him during a birthday party. Jason appeared at brunch with bruises on his arm. He claimed he had fallen. A friend quietly told me, "I think he's afraid of her." I changed the subject. Jason had wanted danger, and whatever happened next was no longer my responsibility. The call came at 2:47 in the morning. My phone vibrated against the nightstand, dragging me from a shallow sleep. The number was unfamiliar, but something in my body recognized the danger before my mind did. My stomach tightened. My hands went cold. I answered. "Hello?" For several seconds, there was only breathing. Then Jason spoke. "It's me." His voice was thin and uneven, nothing like the confident man who had told me kindness was weakness. "What do you want?" A muffled sob came through the line. "I'm at the police station." I sat upright. "What happened?" He tried to speak, but his voice cracked. "Marissa, I tried to leave tonight. She lost it." The silence that followed carried everything he had not yet said. "She put me in the hospital," he whispered. "My nose is broken." I closed my eyes. I expected rage, pity, or satisfaction. Instead, I felt only a hollow ache for the person I had once loved and the choices that had brought him here. "Why are you calling me?" "Because you're the only person who ever really cared." The words came out quickly, almost desperately. "I was stupid, Lillian. I thought I wanted someone reckless, someone who would challenge me. But she treats me like garbage. She controls everything. She checks my phone, starts fights, and then apologizes like nothing happened." "You had someone who cared." "I know. You threw her away because she was too nice." He began crying harder. "I'm scared." I stared at the ceiling fan turning slowly above me. "Call your parents. They won't help. Then call a shelter or speak to the police officer beside you. Lillian, please. I'm not the person you call after choosing someone else. I made a mistake. You made a decision." His breathing became ragged. "I don't know what to do. Get professional help. Stay away from her. But don't call me again." I ended the call and blocked the number. For the first time since leaving him, I slept through the rest of the night. 1 week later, the messages began. Jason found new numbers and email addresses. "I know I shouldn't be contacting you. I'm sorry. Can we talk as friends?" I deleted everything. The messages became longer. "I keep remembering how you made tea when I was stressed. You always knew when something was wrong. Marissa never asks whether I'm okay. I think I ruined my life." He was finally recognizing the value of the things he had mocked, but only because they were no longer available to him. Then the calls started. Once a week became several times a week. Voicemails filled with regret, fear, and loneliness accumulated on my phone. I listened only long enough to confirm it was him before deleting them. The situation changed on a cold Tuesday evening. I walked out of the gym and found Jason leaning against my car. For a second, I barely recognized him. The Jason I remembered had always been polished. Perfect hair, fitted clothes, confidence in every movement. This man wore an oversized hoodie and worn sweatpants. His hair looked greasy and dark circles surrounded his bloodshot eyes. Faint discoloration remained around his nose. "You look good," he said, forcing a weak smile. "You've been working out." I opened the trunk and placed my gym bag inside. "What do you want?" He flinched. "I need help." "Call a therapist, please." His hands shook at his sides. "I don't know how to leave her." The cold turned our breath into white clouds between us. I noticed the fresh bruise beneath the makeup near his jaw. "Remember what you told me?" His eyes dropped. "You said nice was another word for weak." "I was wrong." He grabbed my arm. You are the strong one. Marissa isn't strong. She's just angry. I removed his fingers gently. It took you a long time to understand that. His face crumpled. Tell me what to do. For one dangerous moment, compassion pulled at me. Then I remembered the engagement ring hidden beneath my sweaters. The nights I tried to make myself more exciting. The calm way he told me I was not enough while already choosing Marissa. Figure it out, I said. I got into the car and locked the door. As I drove away, I saw him collapse against the curb in my rearview mirror. That night, I removed the engagement ring from its box. I had kept it because selling it felt like admitting the future I imagined had never existed. The next morning, I traded it for a vintage watch. Every time I looked at it, I remembered that some time could not be recovered and should not be wasted trying. 3 weeks later, someone began pounding on my apartment door at 2:17 in the morning. The force of the blows shook the frame. Through the peephole, I saw Jason standing barefoot in the hallway. His left eye was swollen almost shut. Blood stained his shirt, and mascara-like streaks from bruising darkened his face. Open the door, he shouted. I know you're inside. Behind me, Samuel stirred in bed. He was the man I had recently started dating. Calm, considerate, and patient enough not to demand explanations before I was ready to give them. What's happening? He asked. Someone has the wrong apartment. Jason struck the door again. Lillian, please. You were supposed to save me. I turned away from the peephole. Samuel studied my face but did not press. The pounding continued for 17 minutes. Then came the sound of Jason sliding down the door, his cries fading into exhausted whimpers. Eventually, the hallway became silent. The next morning, I found a bloody handprint on the doorknob and an old phone charging cable on the floor, the same kind I had bought Jason for his birthday years earlier. I threw both away. 3 weeks later, a mutual friend named Leah confronted me at a coffee shop. Jason is in rehabilitation, she said. He mixed alcohol and pills after you refused to let him inside. That's unfortunate. Her face hardened. Unfortunate? He nearly died. Samuel entered the cafe behind her, smiling as he folded his wet umbrella. I stood to greet him. I used every piece of care I had trying to love Jason, I told Leah. What he does now belongs to him. 6 months later, an email arrived. The subject line read, I understand now. Jason wrote that I had never been too nice. I had been too good, and he had been too foolish to know the difference until it was too late. He said he hoped Samuel treated me better. I marked the email as spam. That weekend, Samuel and I adopted a rescue dog, a golden retriever mix with gentle eyes and a habit of sleeping against my feet. As I watched Samuel scratching behind the dog's ears, I realized something. Jason had mistaken kindness for weakness because he had never understood what kindness required. It was not weakness to love carefully. The weakness had been his inability to value it before losing it. 5 years passed before I saw Jason again. By then, my life no longer felt like something I had rebuilt after him. It simply felt like mine. Samuel and I had moved into a bright apartment overlooking the river. Our rescue dog, Milo, had grown from a nervous animal who flinched at sudden movements into a spoiled golden retriever mix, who believed every couch belonged to him. Samuel proposed on an ordinary Sunday morning. No restaurant, no audience, no elaborate speech. He handed me coffee, knelt beside the kitchen table, and opened a small velvet box while Milo tried to climb into his lap. I don't want a dramatic life, Samuel said. I want this one. With you. I said yes before he finished. Our engagement party was held in a hotel ballroom surrounded by close friends and family. A jazz quartet played near the windows, while Samuel's mother cried over the ring, and Milo wandered between guests wearing a blue bow tie. I was returning from the bar with 2 glasses of champagne when I felt someone watching me. Jason stood near the terrace doors. For a second, I did not recognize him. He looked healthier than the last time I had seen him. His face had filled out, his hair was clean, and his clothes fit properly. But his hands gripped a cocktail napkin so tightly that the paper had begun tearing between his fingers. I walked toward him. Crashing engagement parties now? He flinched. Leah brought me. She didn't tell me whose party it was. His eyes moved past me toward Samuel, who was laughing with my mother near the dance floor. He looks happy, Jason said. He is. And you? I am too. He nodded slowly. I'm sober now. 2 years and 3 months. Good for you. I have a job at a dental office, reception work. It isn't much, but it's stable. I waited. Jason looked down at the napkin. I needed to see whether it was true. Whether what was true. That you moved on. He gestured toward the ballroom, the flowers, photographs, and ice sculpture carved with Samuel's and my initials. That you were better without me. The honesty in his voice made the moment quieter. Across the room, Samuel caught my eye. Everything okay? He mouthed. I held up 5 fingers. 5 minutes. Jason watched the exchange. He trusts you. Yes. I used to look at you the way he does. No, I said gently. You used to look at me like I would always be there. He closed his eyes. That's fair. For once there was no anger in him, no accusation, no demand that I rescue him, only regret. I brought something. He reached into his jacket and removed a small velvet box. Inside was the promise ring I had given him during our first Christmas together, a tiny sapphire he once called cheap after our breakup. I kept it, he said. I couldn't sell it. You should. I thought maybe you'd want it back. I looked at the ring, remembering the woman I had been when I bought it. She believed patience could heal arrogance, and kindness could earn loyalty. I don't. Jason swallowed. Then keep it as proof I wasn't always terrible. You don't need me to rewrite your past. His eyes filled with tears. I really did love you. I know. The answer surprised him. Love wasn't the problem, I continued. You thought love would survive anything you did to it. He looked toward Samuel again. He treats you well? Yes. Better than I did? That isn't difficult. A faint, embarrassed smile crossed his face. The jazz band began playing Fly Me to the Moon, Samuel's favorite song. You should go dance with him, Jason said. I should. He stepped aside. As I turned, he called my name one last time. Lillian? I looked back. I'm sorry I made kindness feel like something shameful. For years, I had imagined hearing an apology like that. It did not change my life, but it allowed one final piece of anger to loosen. I hope you build something better with what you learned. Jason nodded. Then he left through the service entrance without asking me to stop him. Samuel met me halfway across the ballroom and placed his hand against my lower back. Someone from your past? Someone from another life. He studied my face. Are you okay? I looked around the room at the people who had shown up, at Milo sleeping beneath a table, and at the man who understood that peace was not boring. Perfect. Later, in our hotel suite, Samuel loosened my necklace while city lights reflected across the windows. I thought briefly about Jason, not with anger, not with satisfaction, only distance. He had asked for danger and found it. I had chosen kindness and discovered that it was never weakness. It was the strongest foundation I had ever built. My name is Lillian M. Lee. The man I once loved said I was too nice. Years later, he finally understood the difference between weakness and goodness. But by then, my number was blocked. My heart belonged elsewhere. And the life he threw away had become more beautiful than either of us once imagined.